What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today it is our weekly judgment of CBS's own Josh Edwards. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe to the fun YouTube jazz. I was debating on making a video today. Those of y'all who voted on Twitter, all 50 of you made this decision for me because I was debating whether I'm going to include this week because I do usually have one CBS mock a week. And my buddy Ian over at PFN just dropped a 7-round mock draft, and my mind cannot take a 7-round mock draft at the moment. So you're going to be getting that tomorrow fully reviewed because, yes, as a psychopath, I'm going to review our psychopath's works. So let's get right into this. Let's have some fun. Feel free to join the community. We are going off right now, which is beautiful, and it's all thanks to you. Let's get right into this. Below my face is my board. Below that is going to be all the excellent ways you can get connected with the community as well as take advantages of the little bonuses of the show, which are our sponsors and UnderDog as well as Olipop. Let's go right into this. Starting out with the number 1 overall selection, it's Caleb Williams. I had some gripes about being way too similar in terms of his mock draft last week. I'm praying that there's a little bit more originality here. So bear with me. This is a live reaction, and y'all, I mean, I assume most of y'all actually enjoy it when I get pissed off more than when I actually enjoy a mock draft. But, you know, for my own well-being, I assume that Josh is going to be a little bit more innovative. We're not starting off with any innovation here. He's been going Caleb Williams for a hot minute now. And, you know, I'm debating going this route as well in my trades mock draft, not in my no trades mock draft. And seeing what I can do with Justin just because of the fact that I want to test out something new, something novel. And I think it's a really good opportunity to do so because I haven't done it for a long time. So next, we got Marvin Harrison Jr. He is the one to, okay, Cardinals at number 2. I do know that I have somebody who does have some sensory issues. So in case it does seem like I am over-announcing some picks, I want to make sure that everybody who watches this get to have as fun of an experience. So the Cardinals at pick number 2 select Marvin Harrison Jr. It is the logical option at number 2. He's the best player in the draft. I don't know why there's so much hate on him. Again, there's so much prospect fatigue with these top 2 players. You know, I get it. I personally get it. When you hear someone so good, you kind of want to find somebody else who's more of a diamond in the rough. Or not even a diamond in the rough, but let's just say maybe not a generational player that, you know, could be competing with these guys who are more so blue chip. There are a couple players who, you know, some people say Malik Neighbors is better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I highly disagree. However, you know, I think that's just heavily prospect fatigue. Marvin Harrison Jr. is excellent. He is pretty much amazing in every single category. Maybe after the catch, he is not like a Houdini, but at the same time, there's roles for different players who are maybe a little bit smaller, a little bit more nifty after the catch. I think that getting the ball in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s hands is not going to be an issue. I don't think his after the catch problems are that big of a problem. It's a nitpick on a generational player. And the Cardinals would be very, very, very blessed to be able to grab someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. At pick number 3, the New England Patriots go Drake May. Again, the logical progression of things. These guys should be the top 3 picks of the draft. Drake May does have his relative flaws, but I do believe that his higher upside, his mobility, just overall everything that he brings to the table is a massive upgrade for the Patriots, and it will add an element to their offense that they haven't had in a very, very long time. So, you know, I do look forward to seeing the Patriots evolve past just a game manager quarterback with a really good defense, because unfortunately the NFL offenses are a little too high octane, and you can pull off some great victories having the same old New England way. But you really do need to have a quarterback that can kick it into high gear and actually be able to win a game at the end, rather than just have a quarterback that keeps you in it the whole time. Drake May has that potential. Pick number 4, we got Joe Alt here. A lot of people are debating whether it's Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu. Why not either? Honestly, each one has their own respective strengths and weaknesses. I think Joe Alt can handle the power rushers a little bit better than Olu, but Olu has a higher ceiling because he's a better athlete. So it really depends. Are you willing to take the higher risk with a player who has shown some cracks in his game versus someone who's just a little bit more stable? I don't think that either route would be a necessarily poor route, and I'd be very open and very excited to see what the Bears do. I think Joe Alt might be the better selection for the Bears, actually, even though I usually go Olu for them because of the higher ceiling. because Joe Alt is going to be facing power rushers. I mean, you're going to be facing Lucas Van Ness, which I think would personally probably be a problem as he develops for Olu Fashanu, Rashawn Gary. Like, those two guys alone really make me want to lean towards Joe Alt. And again, those power rushers, once they dominate you, they don't really need much else. And a finesse edge rusher to, like, if a finesse edge rusher gets the upper hand, they require proper timing, proper moves in order to continuously beat an offensive tackle. Power rushers, if they have the power leverage, it's going to be a long, long game. So there's some upsides certainly to going after Joe Alt, even with the lower ceiling. Brock Bowers is next. If Olu Fashanu is on the board, I actually made the mistake of going Brock Bowers. I think it's a very solid selection if they end up addressing tackle elsewhere, like in free agency with a really good player. I just doubt that there's going to be the quality of offensive tackle in free agency to warrant going after Brock. This team has enough weapons. I as a Madden, well, I used to be a Madden lover. I can't stand it anymore. But me as a supporter of the Madden idea of building a roster that is super powered, loves the idea of Brock Bowers. However, build through the trenches first. You have enough weapons. There's no real reason to continue boosting the weaponry when you don't have time to throw to them. Then you got Dallas Turner here. Again, dude, what is up with this? We're already starting off on such a bad note. Can you, like, change it up, my guy? My goodness. This is going to be a long video, y'all. I've made these points week after week. I don't know why they continue reposting, because, again, this is, a new mock draft each week. The quality control certainly is not here, and I have a lot of respect for CBS. I have a lot of respect for Josh because he does know what he's talking about. But the fact is, in terms of content quality, you got to change it up, buddy. And this is like 4 weeks in a row with Dallas Turner to the New York Giants, and this is a spot where you can be extremely variable, whether it is Bo Nix, or some people want to say Jaden Daniels, or you want to go after Olu Fashanu here, or JC Latham, or Talise Fuaga. Like, I'm going to put money down based on the fact that I do not trust this guy to actually create a cohesive, consistently different mock draft, that he's going to have Talise Fuaga to the Steelers, which I love that idea, but like, we're putting the bet on right now, and I promise you I have not looked past pick 6 because that's where we're at right now. But Dallas Turner doesn't feel like a great compliment to KT. I mean, edge rusher is a need for the Giants, but tackle is an even bigger one. Quarterback's an even bigger one. And you have value at both of those spots right here. Doesn't make sense. Been criticizing it, and again, if it's a home run pick, like, I get it. I do believe that some picks can be repeated multiple times, but this is the entire mock draft so far because Nate Wiggins was up here last time. Like, again, Nate Wiggins should not be the bona fide selection here at 7. It is genuinely depressing to see this. Like, I'm actually going back to the release date of this just to double check. Yeah, here we go. Blows my mind. But Nate Wiggins, he's a solid corner, top 40 player on my board. Very good field instincts. I think he should be in a zone-heavy system. I don't think he has the physicality to stand up to larger receivers. I honestly don't even think that he's great in the run game, even though he's had some instances of greatness. The more I watch him, the more I think the statistics are a little bit skewed. I've seen a lot better corners in terms of their run support in this draft. Nate Wiggins is not corner 1, but he is a solid top 6 corner in this class. Maybe top 5, because I love Dwight McLaughlin. But I'm seeing guys like Denzel Burke. I was watching him, unfortunately, in the middle of my class the other day, and he's evolving. He's doing he's better than Nate Wiggins in certain systems, and man-specific systems. I would not opt for Nate Wiggins over Denzel Burke, but Nate Wiggins is very, very smart. Then we got the Jets going Olu Fashanu. I'm pretty sure this happened last week as well. This would be a godsend. Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Chargers at pick 9. Again, I mean, it's the same pick he made last week, but this would also be an excellent selection. I think we got Terry and Arnold. Tamorian Terry, R.I.P. Well, R.I.P. to the person he killed. But Terry and Arnold, I think, is the better cornerback out of Alabama, and I love Kool-Aid. I still have Kool-Aid as my number 10 player. This is an A-plus pick. There might just be another guy who's an A++. J.C. Latham would be a valued addition on the Titans. I do think this is a new selection, so hallelujah. J.C. Latham is a great player, and the fact is he's progressed very much so over the past year. I got to give guys credit where credit's due. This is before the Alabama game, Alabama-Georgia SEC championship, so I'm excited to see what happens from that, because that, to be fair, some tackles have been having 0 pressure games allowed versus Georgia. I assume JC might be allowing 1 or maybe 2 pressures this week. If he gets more than that, I'd be a little bit concerned. If he gets less, then, I do think that's still valid to have him here. Antonio Pierce ended up wearing a slick Raiders jacket at the Pac-12 championship, final Pac-12 championship game. Looks very sleek. Would love to see him potentially back. He's doing a very good job with, honestly, not the greatest quarterback on planet Earth, but then he gets to have his guy here in Jaden Daniels, who he's already had coaching time with. Regardless, people have been talking about him as a top 5 selection. So, definitely very good value. Once again, doing some boring ass pick. I already see that next one. I'm going to lose my marbles. I can already tell this guy's not changed. He's changed to 1 pick. It's going to drive me crazy. But with quarterbacks on the board, the Saints are absolute butt cheeks. Sorry, you got to go after a QB. You have to. Malik Neighbors is not going to change your franchise. A quarterback will. Malik Neighbors being thrown to by Jameis Winston or Derek Carr is not going to be the same as whoever the hell else you'll have as your wide receiver 3, because probably Rashid Shaheed will be re-signed. He's up for a contract. Being thrown to by, hell, even Quinn Ewers at this point, going off, this is just right after the game ends, coming off that performance, potentially going to the playoffs, that is even worth it. It's so much better. Leatu Latu's a lazy pick. Just got to call it out as it is. With the amount of edge presence on this team, this is one of the positions that is not required to be drafted. You could even draft a corner. You could draft a safety. Not that they exactly need it, but to be fair, this Green Bay team is fairly well loaded. Offensive tackle is a much better pick here. But again, Josh is losing credibility by the week by continuing to select pretty poor selections, even though, there are, again, I don't expect my opinion to be heard by Josh, but I can guarantee you somebody's got to be listening to this and somebody's got to be looking and saying, hey, dude, are you not going to change anything? This is not a perfect pick. We've heard probably from other people as well that, quite a few of these picks are very ill-advised, and they continue to put it out, which is sad because they get the clicks. And I think they can get just as many clicks from having a good mock draft as having a poor one. Because I'll review a good mock draft. I do not care. I live react to mock drafts. This is just, it's just not good. It's just not good. So, yeah, just not a fan of Josh at the moment, because he also drafted Amarius Mims to the Rams last week. But, again, Amarius Mims to the Rams, if he is here, is going to be an excellent selection. I highly advise him to go back to school because he should be a top 3 selection in 2025. Once again, Keon Coleman. We're doing the exact same mock draft again. T. Higgins is going to be gone. Keon Coleman's a great selection. Cooper DeJean's very versatile here at pick 16 for the Bills. And I do think that is a perfectly fine selection for them. He can play boundary, but more importantly, where I think he should belong is at safety. You got the Cardinals going Jared Verse at this point. If he is here, I think that is a wise selection to go after him. I'd prefer to go after Johnny Newton. Who is the next selection for the Broncos at pick number 18. I don't know why he'd be 27th prospect rank. He's an excellent player. Doesn't make any sense why people would not like Jarzon Newton. He can't play a nose tackle. What do you fucking do? Straight up, we can get up. You could probably find some dude at 7-Eleven to play nose tackle. I'd prefer to do that and have Johnny Newton on my team than, knock Johnny Newton out of my role because I want a nose tackle. So, Johnny Newton's an excellent player. I don't think the Broncos should be targeting a defensive interior with all the other prospects on the board. I would look for a corner 2, potentially because of the fact that you might want to have him as your corner 1 in case Surtain is gone. There is rumors about safety being an issue, but wouldn't do that here. Maybe, well, you don't even have a round 2 selection, so this could be a forced pick on that, but maybe edge rusher for an upgrade, offensive tackle for the future. Again, there's one of my favorite players on the board, so naturally, it's not going to be a bad pick. I'm not going to boo this pick, but it's a solid B pick. It's A plus, in terms of the overall value of the player, but I just don't really feel like this is the right spot for Johnny. Job Robinson going to a system that doesn't exactly fit somebody who is 255 pounds at this stage with other players who have that proper size that they're looking for, which is 270, that based on the fact that they brought in, to replace a 270 pounder, they brought in Bud Dupree, who is a 270 pounder. that is just the right move for a Braylon Trice who, he's a fantastic player. Genuinely one of the best edge rushers that I've studied in a hot minute. He is very, very underrated. Then you got J.J. McCarthy here to the Vikings. That's fine. I don't think that he's the best quarterback on planet Earth, but he's a very solid one. So we'll leave it at that. Romo Dunze, we're finally seeing some variation here. I don't feel like I'm talking about the same picks over and over again. He could end up being the replacement for Michael Pittman Jr. If not, I think he'll still be a very valued wide receiver 2 on the boundary and be able to be what Alec Pierce so far has not. Jordan Morgan for the Seahawks, I don't make any sense of this apart from kicking him to guard, and there are a lot better guards than Jordan Morgan. There are a lot. I mean, you just stay in Washington, go Troy Fautanu if you want to go a tackle that kicks into guard. That guy's an absolute monster in the run game as well. Ill-advised selection here with Jordan Morgan because those tackle spots are both filled up, and there's a lot better value on the interior. Then we got Talise. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich just by betting on who's going to be taken by certain teams in these mock drafts. I swear to God. I mean, there needs to be a sports book for Josh Edwards mock drafts. But Talise Fuaga, for me, I'm surprised they have him ranked first on, I guess he's listed as O-line, which doesn't make any sense. He's an offensive tackle, true and true. I don't know why they would believe him to be an interior offensive lineman. 6'6", 334, unbelievable athleticism. He's a genuine bona fide stud. He needs a little bit more development in terms of being patient and learning from his mistakes, but at Oregon State, that's not really the place to really develop yourself like that. JT Tuimoloau finally not going to the Saints. Hallelujah. It's like him and Malik Neighbors that have been the primary features. I don't think that this is as pressing of an issue that the Texans need to put the pedal to the metal on someone like JT. But if they do go after it, they did bring on, Derek Barnett, who has a similar build for, free agency. And I do think it wouldn't be a bad choice. Based on the players available, would be open to Emeka Ibuka. I would look at that corner 2 spot right now and just get it filled with Terry and Arnold ASAP. But that is just me. Braylon Trice for the Dolphins, yeah. I mean, again, it's really unfortunate, but I cautioned any team drafting Jalen Phillips. I was hoping that Jalen wouldn't actually end up having an NFL career. I hope he would get the money, but, with all the concussions, it sucks to see a human being end up being treated pretty much as a wall of meat that can pretty much be a money generator for an organization. As someone who's dealt with plenty of those concussions and knowing a lot of people who do have CTE, like it is something I take very seriously. So that's why I had a big stance against Jalen Phillips. I was really hoping that, again, this is not related to the concussions, but genuinely somebody who I saw unbelievable talent with. But as a human being, it's just hard to want somebody to continue to break down their body and their mind like that. Regardless, this is not the point of the video. Braylon Trice, given unfortunate injuries to Jalen Phillips, is a welcomed addition to be able to add in with that group for some rotation, make sure everybody stays healthy. We got the Tyler Nubin selection here for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if, a safety at this point is required by Dallas. Tyler Nubin would be a very valued addition, but I don't think he moves the needle enough. There are still some talented offensive linemen on the board that I'd be willing to go after. Graham Barton, who is a left tackle, who's played center, who's recruited as a center, can fill either one of those holes depending on who you feel comfortable with down the line. There's just better positions to go with than Tyler Nubin, but it wouldn't be a position I'd shame. I wouldn't. Troy Fautanu to play right guard. It's an intriguing one. I think that based on the corners being available, that's the best option for the team. Like building the defense, Tavondre Sweat, that's probably a bright move as well. Like there's just some really good options that you could go here besides Troy, but I'm not going to fully shame it. There's good guards down the line. That's why I'm also cautioning against both of those guard selections with the Lions and the Seahawks. But Troy Fautanu is a top 27 player for me. Like he's number 27 on my board. So, his talent is certainly worth it. At the same time, that is wild. They haven't watched him if he's prospect rank 129. But regardless, Troy Fautanu, solid selection. There's just better selections. Brian Thomas Jr. Should not be a first round pick. He is a wide receiver too, through and through. He is very raw. He needs still probably a year of development. I would transfer if I were him. Hell, if we end up seeing like DJ Uiagalelei go to Ohio State, I would love to see Brian Thomas go, and he has the exact same height and weight as Marvin Harrison Jr. Let him develop one more year there. See what the hell happens. And, that would be kind of like my crazy, if I had like, the little globe and I could do some crazy shit, like some wizard stuff, that would be probably what I'd do. If he does come out, he's a good round 2 target, especially for the Jaguars, just not round 1. Emeka Egbuka is next to the Chiefs. I've traded up for Emeka. Don't know why the Jaguars wouldn't go for it, but, we've thrown logic to the wind with some of these online mock drafts. Emeka Egbuka is well worth this selection for KC. A very valued addition, one of the more overall polished athletes, and genuinely a really good football player. You got Kingsley Tuamata. Finally, we got another A+ pick in here. This is probably the best pick you can ask for as a 49ers fan. Maybe Amarius Mims, but, again, I don't really think that's a realistic pick. This is realistic and something that you could genuinely look forward to adding to your roster, kicking Kingsley back to right tackle, and then potentially, if you find another good right tackle, kicking Kingsley back to left to train or replace our unfortunately much older Trent Williams. Then we got Denzel Burke. This is his selection last week. Again, I'm fine with repicks because I do them myself. It just, when there's a strong stretch of the same shit each week, that's when it starts getting a little bit boring. But Denzel Burke is a perfectly fine selection for the Ravens. I was just talking about it. I think he would be someone who I'd take probably top 15 for the Ravens. I'd be willing to do that. Terrion Arnold, I think, is better. He's more of a zone corner than Denzel is. I'd actually debate the two because Denzel is going to be sliding up my board. The more I watched him, I was like, wow, he has taken some steps up. He's really damn good. And I feel fairly confident with my evaluations as in corner. I think that's actually my biggest strength, is that in offensive tackles. So, this class has some really good players in it. Then we got Graham Barton to end it off. He will have time to develop, but I'm just worried he's going to be too much of an interior offensive lineman. That's why I'd caution against it. I'd rather go after someone who needs more development in terms of being able to use his length better, like Troy Fautanu, which I know he's already taken in this. But yeah, if we're talking about tackles who are potential guards, I'd rather take the ones that are, 50-50 than 80-20 guard to tackle ratio, because I think Graham Barton's almost going to be solely relegated as an interior offensive lineman. That's kind of the one thing the Eagles, unless they don't re-sign Landon Dickerson, they shouldn't need that. So we're ending it off on a high note. I go at Josh because of the fact that he's consistent with these. It's not like it's his first mock draft. So again, quality control is a real thing. And I love when you guys call me out for doing the same pick 3 weeks in a row. Because, again, sometimes I forget about it, and y'all remind me. I'm like, you're right. Let's test out a new theory that still makes sense. And it changes out the whole mock draft. That's what makes it fun for you. It's what makes it fun for me. So thank you so much for watching. See you on the far side.